my pleasure to serve you, and I thank you all.
And Matt, if you want to hang out for just a couple of minutes, I'll introduce you again when everybody comes into the room, and you can make that offer again to have people contact you if you don't mind. And you're free to hang out for the rest of the, hear some stories, have some fun. But thank you very much. We're going to let people in now. Ellie, why don't you hit the theme song? Welcome, everybody. Thank you for joining us for our VBC year-end dinner celebration. Sean Hall, our Director of Programming. Hello, Sean. How are you? Ellie DiPastino, who's engineering this production. Hello, Ellie. They and me, we've been looking forward to this evening for so long, just to get together, have some dinner, share some stories, maybe do some trivia. And just have some fun, raise a little bit of money for the Veterans Breakfast Club. It's been 2020 has been a trying year for all of us. Everybody in our community, I think, has undergone a trial or two in 2020. And so we just thought it was such a great thing to get together to bid 2020 adieu. And also, like I said, raise some money. I mean, this year has been hard on the Veterans Breakfast Club financially. It's been hard on, I know Ellie and Sean and I talk very hard on us personally, not being able to get together. Financially, we're not getting the sponsorships that we usually do with our in-person events and the program fees that we charge. It's also been tough operationally. How do we deliver on the mission of the Veterans Breakfast Club when we can't get together face to face? And we've only been able to continue doing that. The only reason we've been able to deliver on the mission is because of your willingness to meet us here, virtually through video conferencing technology. And it's not something that I think has come natively or naturally to many of us. I know that I was pulled into this kicking and screaming. I think maybe one of the only people here who kind of is a native Zoomer might be my daughter Libby and my other daughter Ellie, ages 20 and 24. But we have a 99-year-old Julia Parsons. I'm sorry that I always announce your age, Julia, Navy Wave, World War II, who was undaunted by turning to Zoom. And I think I want to let you know, the Veterans Breakfast Club quietly passed a benchmark 2 weeks ago. And that is, we held our 100th virtual event of the year. We've held over 100 of these events since March 25th, since we had to turn virtual. And I'm just so happy and I'm glad that we did that. And I'm glad that so many of you were willing to do it with us. It's not easy. I mean, we bemoan the fact that we can't get together face to face and that we bemoan the limits of this virtual format. But I always say there are compensating virtues. And one of the best is that we now have people joining us and participating in our programs who I've never met in person. They have never come to our face-to-face events. Tonight, on this very event, at least 20 of you I've never met in person. At least 20 of you has never been to one of our Veterans Breakfast Club breakfasts. So I just thought I would start the evening with two toasts. And for those of you who just joined us, we've been doing a wine and beer tasting. So if my words are a little slurred, I had to, quality control is really important to me, with the Veterans Breakfast Club. So I had to make sure the quality was good over and over again. But I thought I'd make two toasts. Number one, to all of us for the resilience and strength of character that we've shown in this difficult year. And for coming together as a community, and kind of maintaining our community and helping each other out virtually through these programs. That's the first toast. And the second toast is to the year that we have coming up in 2021. May it be happier and pandemic free.
Here, here.
Yeah. Okay, well, around that time.
Leo's taking a phone call. That's okay. That's okay. He drank Coors Light too at the beer tasting. But Leo, good to see you, Leo. He has not had a haircut in 1 year. He's 92 years old, Korean War veteran, has not had a haircut in 1 year. I love that. Ray Emilio's already eating his MRE. That is not part of the plan, Ray. Here's the plan. The idea is, what? You're hungry.
Yeah.
You and Chad and Carol. I saw Bill Boswell eating already. I mean, jeez.
I've been
He's got
waiting
a
and waiting.
sensitive digestive tract. He's got to keep things on a schedule.
I've been waiting and waiting. I can't hold on anymore.
Carol Popchalk's like, can you speed it up, Todd? Like, we want to get to the dinner. And we are going to get to the dinner. We're going to have dinner. We're going to open up and prepare our MREs. We're going to have dinner. We're going to play a little military trivia. We're going to hear some stories. You know, we're going to compare notes of what we've done, of what we've eaten. But before then, I do want definitely to thank the people who really made this possible by financially supporting this event and by sponsoring this event. And I'm just going to share my screen here. As you know, that we usually have a gala every year, a fundraising gala. And we weren't able to do it this year. So this year it's just a year end. This is it. This is our gala. And I thought it would be a hard sell to get sponsors to back the gala. And I was very pleased and surprised of the people who stepped forward to support this event. First of all, it's of course the Shanini George Foundation, which supports animals and children and also honors and celebrates veterans. Sharon George, who's a board member, who's a founder and director of the Shanini George Foundation. She's been a big supporter of the Veterans Breakfast Club over the years. She couldn't be here tonight, but I do want to recognize her and thank her for her support for this event. We also have FedEx Ground, another longstanding supporter of our galas and also a partner in our events that where the Veterans Breakfast Club goes into FedEx and does programs with the veterans there at FedEx. We have Andy Loeb with us. Hello, Andy. Thank you for joining us. I guess you're allowed to dig in early since you're a sponsor.
Thanks, Todd.
And Charlotte,
Billy
is Charlotte
back.
Wilson with us? I think Charlotte was supposed to join us. I think she got a meal. Charlotte Wilson also from FedEx Ground. Thank you. And Andy, you are a retired Army colonel, correct?
Yeah, correct.
How many
Todd.
years in the Army?
20 years.
20 years. Very good. And you've been at FedEx Ground for how long?
5.5 years now.
5.5 years? Wonderful. Well,
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Andy, for coming. And what wonderful MRE did you get tonight?
My favorite, chili mac.
That's
With-
what you ordered, chili mac.
Yeah, chili mac with jalapeno cheese spread. So
As an officer, do you have to kind of let everybody have it first and then you get what's left over?
just depends on what box you get it from and what back of the Humvee or if it was in the 113. But yeah, whatever you got.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you very much, Andy. Thank you for supporting this event, for being here tonight.
No problem.
We also have the Military Community Support Project is a sponsor of this event. And as you know, I do serve on the board of the Military Community Support Project. I'm vice president of the board. The president of the board is Dan Steitner, who's with us this evening. And he's going to be saying a few words later on, but about some big plans that the MCSP has for next year. But I just wanted to recognize their sponsorship and thank them for it. We have UPMC Health Plan is also a sponsor of this event, and Stephanie Harston is with us. I think she's with us. Stephanie, are you with us?
I am, yes.
Stephanie, thank you very much for supporting this. You're a retired Navy commander?
No, I am still reservist and I'm a captain, Navy captain.
You're a Navy captain.
Yes.
Stephanie, you in the Navy, you don't mess with MREs, do you, very often?
Well, I deployed twice, so I've had my share of MREs, yes.
You have had your share. So what's your favorite?
The cheese spread on the crackers, or the M&Ms.
That is pretty humble. That's a pretty humble favorite. What meal did you end up getting tonight?
I got the
Oh my gosh, she's not even having it around her. She's not even opening
chicken burrito bowl.
Chicken burrito bowl. Are you going to have it?
I'll have parts of it.
Oh,
I think I have cheese spread or peanut butter.
Good answer.
And the dessert. I always like the desserts.
That's great. Stephanie, thank you very much for joining us tonight. And thank you PMC Health Plan for sponsoring this event. Fragasso Financial Services is also a sponsor, and Encompass Health. Lisa Hopkins, who's been supporting the Veterans Breakfast Club for many years, couldn't make it tonight. But I do want to thank her and recognize Encompass Health, formerly known as Health South, PA Health and Wellness, and Carrie Harmakar. Carrie, I don't believe you're here with us tonight, but you are a supporter, and Adagio Health is also. And then rounding it out, we have Julian Gray Associates, another longstanding supporter of the Veterans Breakfast Club, and John F. Slater Funeral Home are also supporting this event. So I just wanted to kind of thank everybody for supporting the event. And I also want to recognize our board members who are with us tonight, because I know we have several of them. I know we have, we have Bill Boswell. Hello, Bill. Oh, Sharon George, you're here.
Yes.
I'm sorry, I was looking at my screen and I didn't see that you were here. You're a premier sponsor of this event, and I just thought I'd have you say a few words about your foundation and about your board work and why you support this event in the Veterans Breakfast Club.
Oh, really? I didn't even prepare anything, but I do have a foundation in honor of my great grandmother who came to this country on the Titanic. She barely survived that voyage. She was in the second to the last lifeboat to leave the Titanic. She was on the starboard side, and the last lifeboat left on the port side 5 minutes later. So for her and for my entire family, it was the last lifeboat. And she came to this country like all the early immigrants of this nation and built this nation into what it is today. And as such, she and her children started a company called Joy Cone Company, which makes ice cream cones, and we still make ice cream cones today. And so I wanted to honor her, and the three ways that I chose to honor her through my foundation is through supporting and honoring the military, which is why I'm here tonight, to benefit children and youth, and to also benefit animals. So I'm thrilled and honored to be here, and I will say the proverbial thank you for your service.
Well, thank you very much, Sharon. I'm sorry that I missed you the first round. Thank you for supporting this event. I know it's not, you are an expert at creating wonderful face-to-face events, and I know this is a disappointment not being able to do our usual gala. But thank you very much for supporting this event as you have done. And I also see that Charlotte Wilson is with us. Hello, Charlotte. You're with FedEx Ground. I'm going to make you say, if you're a vet, I'm going to make you tell us about what branch of service you served in and when you served. And take your time, because I want Carol Popchalk to wait long before she is able to eat, because she was trying to rush me. Charlotte, thank you for coming tonight.
Yeah, so I work for FedEx Ground. I've been in Pittsburgh for about 2.5 years. FedEx sponsors the Veterans Program, and it's something that I've been able to come to for the past 2 years. And thoroughly enjoy it. I always enjoy seeing the different speakers and engaging with the different veterans.
Well, thank you very much, Charlotte, and thank you and FedEx Ground again for being a sponsor of this event tonight. And I was just beginning to introduce our board. We have Sharon George here, who's a member of our board. We have Ray Emilio, who is past president of our board. Hello, Ray. We have John Pippy should be here. John, are you, I guess, oh, I think I just got a text from him. Oh gosh, okay.
Oh yes, I'm here.
Oh, you are here.
You have so many people, you can't find all of us. So,
I know.
That's a good problem to have.
How are you, John?
Oh, doing very well, thanks.
Do you want to tell people what you've been doing these last several months since COVID? You've been
well. So I'm like some other people who are on this call. I'm still in the military. Now a guardsman, was active duty prior in reserves, but I command a brigade in northeastern Pennsylvania, 55th Maneuver Enhancement Brigade, So for the last 9 months, we've been doing COVID relief. We've been doing other things in support of our urban areas when they've needed support. And then I just finished an exercise. So I've been eating MREs now for 3 weeks in a row. And as the Colonel mentioned, if you're lucky, you get a box in your own Humvee because you're traveling a lot. Otherwise, we do have to wait. So that's why I'm going to be eating a Spanish MRE tonight and drinking some good voodoo beer. So I'm excited about tonight. I've eaten every other MRE the Army has, to include the pizza one, which was nasty. So I'm looking forward to Spanish MRE.
You told me that the pizza one was nasty, and not a single person ordered it.
Yeah, it is. Think of old bread and then a little sauce put on it. The worst type of. It was not good. So definitely a bureaucrat designed that one.
So John must be very excited to have, after living on MREs for 3 weeks, having a special gala event featuring MREs. So thank you, John, for joining us despite that. So John's Army, we have Bill Boswell, who is Air Force retired colonel. Hello, Bill. I know you're with us. And we have Mac Kelly, who is Marine. Hello, Mac.
How are we doing, Todd?
What's your favorite MRE?
Oh man, I don't ever remember actually caring much about what I put in my mouth. To be honest with you, that was funny. But I got a pretty good one. Any MRE that had jalapeno cheese in it I'm in.
Was good. Okay.
Big man.
And we have Lamont Gourdine, who's just recently retired Navy commander, coming to us from Virginia. Lamont, sir, how are you?
I'm doing well, Todd. How you doing today?
Naval aviator. You didn't, as a naval aviator, you didn't eat MREs often, did you?
Did not eat it often with the Navy, but when I worked on the Joint Staff and I got to spend some time in Afghandi land, definitely when I was hanging out with the Marines out in RC Southwest, which is like Helmand Province, we call that the Badlands. Pretty much, we ate a lot of MREs out there, but I actually liked the breakfast, the scrambled eggs. For some reason, I don't know why, that was delicious. But with hot sauce, everything was delicious. So it really didn't matter.
Did MREs? Did they come with little bottles of Tabasco back then?
Absolutely.
They've taken those out.
Oh, they have?
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, they should have kept those in there. It made everything delicious.
Last but not least, I want to introduce our board president, Mike Chirok, and Mike is a board member, board president. He's also the CEO of AE Works, and I want to recognize the role of AE Works in this event. They did the deliveries of these MRE gift bags, and I don't know if any of you have ever had the experience of getting into a project and realizing that you're in over your head and that the deadline is coming up and that you're in trouble. That was me a couple days ago. And 14 AE Works employees stepped up and said that they would deliver these gift bags all around the region to, all the people who ordered the MREs, 50 plus people. And boy, am I grateful. I realized in the planning that I just did not plan to distribute these well, and they saved the day. So I want to thank Mike, and I want to thank all the AE Works employees who volunteered and took an afternoon and drove around Allegheny County and elsewhere delivering these MREs. Mike, thank you very much. I thought as board president, you may want to say a few words.
Well, yeah, thank you. On behalf of the AE workers, it was their privilege. So they had a lot of fun. They were voluntold. Some of them weren't in the military. They get a little bit of that experience. I want to thank everybody for coming in tonight and more importantly, for supporting the Veterans Breakfast Club over a trying year. I want to commend Todd and his team for the transformation, literally overnight, to a full digital format. Quite remarkable when you think about it. Going from our live events and trips and everything where we've engaged with each other over the many years to a full virtual format. And I think pulled off what few organizations have been able to do. And as many of you know who participate weekly in those digital events, the are very rich. I have witnessed it. It's been really remarkable. And I think the future of the organization and the power of the Veterans Breakfast Club is the future is incredibly bright. And so I just want to commend Todd and his team for a remarkable transformation, and to my fellow board members who give so much of their time to the organization to help develop the vision and strategy and mostly support Todd and the team. It's awesome honor and privilege to be part of the organization. So thank you to my fellow board members, and I'll miss having our dinner this year, which I look forward to always seeing you. And but we'll get through all this stuff and we'll enjoy ourselves tonight. And I'm a Submariner. We did not eat MREs. I actually joined submarines because they said the food was better. I don't think that's really the case, but
it is the case.
The
food is definitely better on submarines than in the Army or the Marine Corps if you're out in the field.
On your skipper, that's a couple good skippers. I was on a number of different boats, and submarines, that's kind of one of you eat whatever the captain eats, right?
Julia Parsons, who's our senior veteran here, she was in the Navy in World War II. She says that the food was wonderful in the Navy, right? Julia?
Yes, absolutely right. Never had a bad meal.
Never had a bad meal in the Navy. That's amazing. Well, some of you might have a bad meal tonight. Let's tear them open and get started, shall we? Let's without further ado, let's tear them open and get started. I'm having a Japanese dinner. And I know for those of you who ordered the Japanese meal, and quite a few of you did, you're going to have to heat it up in the, heat the rice up. That's the important thing to really heat up in the microwave, or you could boil it for 20 minutes or so. You weren't allowed to sell these MREs came from Japan, and they could not send the heating element through the mail to the US. So you have to heat them up yourselves, but feel free to tear open your bags if you haven't already. Bob Book is probably finished. Andy's almost done with his meal. Herb is.
As we tear open our bags, I think Mac has a little advice in terms of how to open that package.
Sure. Yeah. So, I mean, go ahead and open this and eat whatever you feel is palatable. I was just telling Ellie earlier that we actually never went to the field with these, at least not like this. So you can see in looking at this thing, I mean, it's thick. And when you're going out into the field, your space is very limited. I mean, your pack is probably already going to weigh 100 and change pounds, and you want to minimize all the trash and garbage as possible. So before you'd actually go out into the field, you'd get issued all your MREs for your field op, whether it was 3 days or whatever, and you were granted 2 per day. All right. Now keep in mind all the folks that I'm sure most of the folks here have eaten an MRE before, but you want to make sure that you're drinking a lot of water with these bad boys for sure. But the first thing you do is you're in your room with with your roommates or whatever, and you just start doing this. I mean, you don't need any of that crap, right? So ketchup, I'm not a big ketchup guy. Mustard, I'm going to keep the mustard. You can put that on anything. The thing is too, you don't need the package to tell you what things are, because you can see it's digitally printed here on your packaging exactly what's in there. So I've got beef patty, grilled jalapeno pepper jack flavor. Tells them when that was manufactured, not like we've ever looked at that before. Chocolate chip cookie, I'll keep that. M&Ms, I saw, who was that? Ooh. Becky, I'm sorry, I'll ship these to you. Give me your address. The orange beverage stuff. So, what you might not already know is this is actually just pretty much powdered Gatorade. So you would actually probably not keep this in your pack as far as, food sustenance, because chow is always continuous. You always want to have some things accessible to you immediately in your cargo pockets or in pouches on your flak jacket, or maybe in your day pack that's actually strapped onto the back of your pack, or in the brain of your rucksack. Because on the top of the modern day rucksacks, there's actually the flap itself. It's called the brain, and that's where you put all the stuff that you want immediately accessible to you, because you can be walking, access the brain, grab something out. You can throw this into your Camelback or your canteen or whatever. And this has a lot of those electrolytes that you might need. So I would cut that aside to throw into my brain.
I noticed, Mac, I just interrupt you. It's called, I have it too. It's called beverage base orange type 3.
Yeah.
Was there a type 1 and 2 that didn't make the cut, or?
Boy, I tell you, I have no idea. Sometimes I feel like they just put that there because it's the third version. They
Hey Mac, I think version 1 and 2 was like Tang.
Tang, yeah. I think it was Tang.
I remember Tang.
Yeah.
That Tang was
all those
for astronauts.
It was first developed for space flights.
I know that.
The spoon, and you can actually look up a lot of old wartime photographs. So you'd actually see guys with spoons in their helmets, spoons in their flak jackets, spoons all over the place.
Yep.
But you would probably only keep 1 or 2 spoons. It's not like you threw a bunch in your bag. That also goes into the trash. Depending on what geographical climate you're in, the heater, I can't remember one time that I ever actually used the heater.
Okay.
You never use the heater?
No, it takes too much time. Chow is continuous. You don't have the time to sit there and spend 5 minutes to heat up your food before you can eat it. You're trying to eat your food in between activities or while you're doing activities. So most of the time I'm not using this. If I was going on a 1 week long field op, I might throw 2 in there just in case I needed a warm meal as kind of a pick me up. You know what I mean?
Right.
But also these are kind of a liability. They're in the plastic packaging and they're completely sealed. But if they do get wet, they can burn through quite a bit. And most of the time also, if you're in cold climate, I would actually use these as hand warmers more than anything.
Huh.
Most of this stuff is gold, but I would strip this and only take what I want. There's a rumor, I'm not sure if it's true, but that this gum is actually a diuretic. Considering how long this food stays in your system, I can see how it's warranted.
Yes. Yeah,
the moist pellets in here are gold, though, because you very rarely get an opportunity to clean yourself up.
Bob Dvorak said at one of our events that the only problem with MREs is you have one and 72 hours later, you're hungry again.
Yeah, very true. So this is what they tell you to mix your beverage in, but nobody does that. You'll probably just get this powder, tear it open, pour it into your mouth, take a swig, and you're done. Cherry blueberry cobbler. Yeah, that might be an on-the-go meal.
Yeah, that sounds good.
That's a good one.
And then tortillas plain. So the only thing I would probably keep these things together if I'm going on a field op. Again, we're not sitting down to eat meals. I would probably keep the tortilla and the beef patty together, so I could wrap the beef patty in the tortilla and just eat that on the go. I would probably only cut off a corner of this and squirt the cherry cobbler into my mouth on the go. Cookie, fantastic. You can eat that in any which way you'd like. And then again, I wouldn't mix this at all. I would just pour it into my mouth and drink it. Might even throw it into a Rip-It, if you know what that is.
You would hold it. The orange stuff, you would just throw it into your mouth?
Yeah.
You would not mix it with water. You just like a pixie stick.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to get it into my canteen or my Camelback because it can kind of make things nasty.
Oh, well, it sounds pretty nasty just having it straight out of here.
No, I'll do it right now.
Okay. I dare you. You can get a Marine to do anything.
You don't have to dare me. I volunteered, Todd.
And then you chase it with water.
Like doing a hot chocolate, real quick. Pour the powder in, pour the milk in.
You do that, Sean?
Shake it up, on the go.
Well, you got to remember, most of the time, we recognize that we're not drinking this because it tastes good.
Right.
We're drinking it because it's 120 degrees outside and we're sweating.
Yeah.
And we're trying to avoid heat stroke or heat-related illnesses. So you just take a quick shot and you move on.
And I mean, it sounds like you are never for a moment savoring a single taste of a single meal.
That's what these are for.
Oh.
So you save those for later. But yeah, so I've field stripped an MRE, and you might remember it was as thick as my hand. I
Field
turned
stripped
that
an
into-
MRE, right?
Yeah, I field stripped. So now I'm looking at two things that are maybe, I don't know, I could fit into my pockets, and some M&Ms that I'll hide deep in my bag so that they're not affected by the heat. And I keep some kind of a dry bag in my sack with all of this kind of stuff. The toilet paper, it's tissue, a moist towelette, any kind of seasonings, the gum if I need to let loose or whatever.
Right.
Oh, cheese spread with bacon's in there too. I would probably keep that around with the beef patty. But yeah, so there's a field strip. Like I probably got rid of about half the weight of what the MRE actually was, and most of the thickness. I probably took up way more time than we had anticipated.
Oh, that's great. That's great. People are still probably, especially if you have something that you needed to heat up in the, put in water. They're still preparing it. It looks like several people are eating it. Several people are still preparing it. And while we're doing that, Ellie created a wonderful kind of highlight reel for 2020. It's about 9 minutes long. I thought we would screen that, and then that should give everybody time to at least have a bite of their meal. Then we can come back and compare notes. I'm Todd, and welcome to our first ever remote live event. We're all about bringing the community together around these veteran stories. And we tried this a week ago, and it was fantastic. And people are joining us here on Zoom. And I think a lot of people, are starting to watch on Facebook Live. And since the end of March, we've put all our events online. We have these virtual events live 3 times a week. Plus, we have a video cast, a podcast.
I wanted to do something in World War II because all the men were getting to do all these exciting things and the women could do nothing but sit at home. The Navy just appealed to me because I could get a direct commission since I'd finished college, and I liked the uniforms.
In my area, all of our villages, all of our hamlets were in one village. There was no rural population. So we moved by just driving down the road. We were strictly there as advisors and liaison. And we liaised with the American Artillery, American Helicopter Support, and that was basically it. I was only in the field with one other American. Everything was totally Vietnamese.
Of course, during Vietnam and the alternatives, I looked at it and said, I really think I'd rather go fly airplanes. I really was more interested in the route I went. I mean, I would have been glad to fly fighters if I'd gone that route, but I was happy to get into the airlift business.
I talked to a lot of the veterans a lot of service members who went to Afghanistan before Iraq. They were like, look, we know that, then they spoke directly to me. They were like, we know what you went through in 2003. We understand 2005. This is a whole different.
72, I was brought over to the United States. So at 10 months old, the only thing I ever knew was growing up here in the United States. My dad was Air Force, and one day they plopped a baby in his arms, and I guess it was my lucky day because he decided to adopt baby number 899.
So Kim was the last civilian. The very last civilian to escape Quang Tri after that big battle.
When you talked about the desegregation of the military, just think about this, even though it was desegregated, you still didn't hear about the significant things that African Americans did. Like, growing up, I didn't hear about the Marines from Monty Point. I didn't hear about the Harlem Hellraisers. You heard about the Tuskegee Airmen, a couple years ago. Dory Miller just got recognition. So just think of all the things that we have done in the military that we never got credit for.
Being young and not knowing what to do and being afraid. I'm like, not gonna, I was sometimes, I've heard this before, right? Like I was more afraid sometimes in my own unit than being deployed to Iraq.
Between going through flight school and not seeing a whole bunch of people that look like me, I realized that I could not be isolationist when it came to that. I had to figure out a way to bridge the gap. And I had a very successful career because I have friends of all different races, all different creeds, all different religions. We are not just one monolithic group of people.
It was a blast. It was a suicide car bomb. It was a white Corolla. We were on a mission. I just have beef with Toyota because they just make these they're affordable, spacious, J.D. Power Associates award-winning bomb-friendly vehicles.
Chrisanne was saying that people with TBI are funny.
I said that's when you know they're coming back. Every word out of your mouth becomes.
All right. Here's the next question again, a Navy question. What determined the width of modern battleships?
Panama Canal.
Panama Canal. All right, smarty pants. You guys are so smart. How wide is the Panama Canal? You know what?
A little bigger than one Navy battleship.
I was waiting. I knew it was so that you tossed that one right across the plate.
Oh man, yeah.
I have to say that eating sea rations is easier than doing all of this. If I was in combat and had to do all this, I'd throw it out and eat an apple if I had one.
You know, I don't live far from you. Had I known I was gonna get number 15, the Mexican style chicken stew, I would have let you throw me something else off of your front porch. I did eat it though, and it was tasty for what it was.
We call that a backhanded compliment.
Oh, they came up with a ration that was called 10 in 1. And it was enough food for 10 people, 10 men. And they didn't tell us this. All we knew, we found a package and stuff. So we started to cook it, and it was rice. If they had water, and the more water we would put in there, the more rice we had. We ended up with helmets full of rice, boots full of rice. We had everything full of rice, and it wasn't very good.
Oh, that is so much fun. So much fun to kind of look past at these, events that we've had over the past 8 months and realize that we've been able to have some fun, even if we couldn't get together in person. So let me ask you, those who have tried your MRE, how's it going? Yes, Ray.
Mine was very good. I had the tortilla with lemon pepper tuna and the mayo, and the sandwiches were good. A little salty, but it was pretty good.
Better than what you had in Vietnam?
Yeah. Yes.
Yes, it was.
Todd?
Yes.
Todd, question to your MRE expert. Where's the stimulant?
The what?
In the sea ration packets, we got a little piece of wood that had a point on one end and the other, and you could chew the other up into a brush, and that's how you brushed your teeth if you were carrying the sea rations. Because you can buy them today in the drugstore. They're called stimulants. The difference is the ones in the drugstore are red. The ones we had in Vietnam were green.
I've not heard of that.
I remember the cigarettes, but I don't remember stimulant.
Well,
I've got a pack of sea rations that I use for the History Center,
and it still has the STEMU dent in it, and I still have it in the package.
The STEMU dent.
STEMU
And it's
dent.
like a little.
It's a toothpick that you chew the one end with, and you clean your teeth with it.
Yep.
And the description on the paper is typical Army, Air Force, Marine nomenclature. It just describes it to the nth detail on how to use it. Hilarious.
Hey, so Todd, so I have one. It's the Cure-Dent toothpicks. So it's the French version. Cure-Dent. C'est bien.
So you're having a French meal. How is it, Lamont?
I have it heating on the porch right now. Do it in the house. So it actually comes with like a little mini sterno.
Ooh, yeah. So, you didn't want to burn the house down?
No.
Okay.
No, I didn't want to do that. So yeah, so it's out on the front porch cooking right now. So after that, I'll let you know how it is. But I'm sure it'll be delicious.
Ida May, you're eating yours, which is a Japanese. How is it?
No, Dale has the Japanese.
Oh,
the
sorry.
only thing that I could eat was this tuna pack.
Oh, that's what I had.
And I tried to squeeze some mayonnaise in it, which helped a lot. But Dale will probably get everything else that was in the package. And I snuck a little bit of his rice, and it's very good. I think he likes his, he'll talk to you about it, although he doesn't understand how someone in a foxhole could boil rice for a half an hour.
Well, like I said, these should have come with a heat pack, and I don't know if it would have taken a half an hour with the heat pack, but it might have. I think rice is just that important. And the other thing is, and I'm eating one of them too, is I love that the spoons are bamboo.
Mine was broken.
Oh, sorry about that.
That's all right.
I will say this regarding the taking 30 minutes to cook something in a foxhole.
Yes.
When you're like, have you ever heard of the term hurry up and wait?
Yes.
Like we're in a rush to do absolutely everything we do just so we can sit somewhere waiting for something to happen. So maybe the fact that these MREs are so complicated to cook, or maybe those folks that actually savor having a good meal and will spend the time and have the time to sit around and wait, you know what I mean? It gives them something to do.
Good thinking. Good thinking.
Bob?
Yeah.
Bob here.
Hey, Bob, how are you?
I'm great. How about you?
Good.
I had the Asian style beef strips with vegetables and sauce, which I ditched the spoon and I used my father's World War II.
Oh,
spoon and fork.
Look at that.
Where do you carry that? Flak jacket or helmet?
While I was eating this, our dog Sooty happened to be sitting right at my knee under the table. And I think he was reminded, the Asian style vegetables kind of reminded him of his Rachel Ray dog food that he eats. And then I had a packet of peach and mango applesauce type thing that was very good. And I had this piece of wheat snack that looked like a piece of bread, and I was surprised to see a desiccant in there. And it, of course, says do not eat the desiccant.
Don't eat the desiccant.
And I'm saving the patriotic cookies for later.
Yeah, those cookies are great. They are. Sean, who made the cookies? Ruby Lou?
Yes, Ruby Lou. That's actually my sister-in-law. She's married to my brother-in-law. She has started a company, Ruby Lou. She's been doing this for about a year now, and left her job at a really well-paying job at JCPenney. Was like, I want to do something I want to do and I'm passionate about. And she started making cookies out of her house, and she's very good at it. And they're delicious cookies. I'm going to put the link to her website in the chat here. If anybody's interested in contacting her, she does excellent holiday cookies, birthday cookies, any holiday celebration type thing you want to do, she can make cookies for. But she was really excited to do this for this event, and I'm really thankful for her.
Oh, that's so neat. And I do want to
Just so you know, Todd,
yeah.
Bob's cookies are actually the MRE Patriot cookies.
Yeah.
Right,
See,
Bob? Yes,
Here they
I know
are.
what you. Yeah, so they're legit.
Here they are. Yeah. The cookies that are the coffee mugs, they're great. And I want to ask you about the lady that makes those cookies. Was she featured on Pittsburgh Today Live at one point?
Sean?
I'm not actually sure if she was on Pittsburgh Today Live. I'll have to ask her. But I know that she's been gaining a lot in popularity and that her holiday orders were through the roof. So she's definitely doing quite well.
Cookies, very good.
Hey, I want the Shepke family to weigh in on what they think of their MREs. If they want to turn their cameras on and turn their mics on eventually. And while we wait for that, John Kramer, you had a German MRE. How was yours?
Yeah, I had a very good German MRE. It was goulash and noodles, and they had a lot of chocolate and different things like that in there. Germans know how to do it.
You know how to do it. Any strudel with that MRE?
No strudel.
And you were stationed in Germany for quite some time. Did you like the food there when you were there?
The German food was excellent. And I gave you a story where I was deployed to a German air base first in Feldbruck on a NATO meeting. And at 10 o'clock that morning, the bell went off and we all went into the kitchen. We thought we were going to get coffee. And it ended up, it was a Bavarian tradition. We got a liter of beer and a plate of bratwurst. And we had that every morning at 10 o'clock. And needless to say, a liter of beer at 10 o'clock put us in bad shape for the rest of the morning.
I'll say.
You can't drink all day if you don't start in the morning.
Jack Watson, where were you, Jack Watson, when you got all that rice? Was that Iwo Jima or was that Maui? I'm going to ask you to unmute. You had the rice coming out of your boots, your rice in your helmet.
That was on Iwo Jima.
That was on Iwo Jima.
Yeah, that's where we discovered the 10 and 1.
I can't imagine that you probably remember much of what you ate on Iwo Jima. Maybe you do. Do you have any memory
Oh,
of?
I have no idea.
No idea.
No idea.
No idea. Right. Yeah, you were busy doing other things. Carol, Pop Chalk, how do you like your meal?
I had the spaghetti with beef and sauce, and it was actually pretty good. The only thing is, the heating with that packet didn't work. I followed the directions to the T, and one corner of it was warm, but the rest of it wasn't. So I had to nuke it. You know, I just put it in the microwave and warmed it up.
Right.
But it was very tasty, and it was like little meatballs, you know, in with it. So that part was good. I was surprised to find a Pop-Tart and
wow,
peanut butter and jelly and a piece of bread and raisins, osmotic raisins, whatever that means. But the raisins are very good. I'm eating the raisins kind of on the side here. I think a Pop-Tart doesn't go with spaghetti in my book, but so maybe I'll try that at breakfast time. But it made me wonder, do they pack a lot of things into these meals to give people choices of what I want to eat now and what I want to eat later, or maybe what I want to eat for breakfast or a midnight snack or something? Because there's some odd combinations of things in there, I thought.
I think John Pippy once said to me that they put the unpopular MRE entrees are usually coupled with very popular sides like M&Ms. Is that how it works, John?
Usually, if you get stuck with the vegetarian or something you don't like, there's always a good, the jalapeno cheddar cheese, the M&Ms or the Skittles. So that's the Pop-Tart isn't meant to go. I think that's the Army's version of a dessert.
Okay.
Because there's usually always something sweet, whether it's a cookie or something. So, but yeah, it was designed by a committee. Just remember that. So I like the Pop-Tart actually.
And I've got to add, Carol, you know, there's an art to using these heaters too, and I don't mean to interrupt too much, but the trick is you actually don't want to use too much water. You know, it's got a fill line.
I followed that to the T.
The real objective is to make sure that the entire I don't know what's in here. I could probably look it up, but there's a chemical reaction taking place with all of this black stuff in here. You want it to be wet, but not soaking wet. And then you want you don't want it standing in water. You want it wet. So you want to get the whole thing wet. And that's whenever it really starts to engage, whenever it's wet, but not submerged, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, it was hard to get that water to the correct spot on the fill line. I had to
I wouldn't worry about that too much. Carol, you got to remember that most of the folks that are using these things are just winging it. Like, it's good, you shake it up a little bit and then you just set it to the side, or you throw it in your pocket, and whenever it starts to burn your leg, it's done.
It was designed for Marine.
Yeah, you're exactly right. We eat crayons, so this stuff is amazing.
Do Marines really eat crayon? I have to ask somebody about that. I hear that a lot. Red crayons. Okay.
Yes.
I want to. My brother-in-law Drew Haberberger, who's with us tonight, teaches physics at Mount Lebanon High School, and he said that afterwards he will give a little lecture on how the heater works. Right, Drew?
Sure, Todd. Sure, that'll be we'll have it around 9:30. I'll put it.
Do you guys mind if I ask a safety question? What do I do with this now? Is it safe to just throw it in the wastebasket, or do I need to dispose of it in some special way?
Dig a hole.
It will not reach a flash point of anything that's in your garbage can. It would be too hot to put on your skin, but not hot enough to melt or burn anything.
Okay, so it's safe to just throw it away.
Yeah, keep in mind everything.
Or
that's
bury it in
the
the sand.
Cooked. We're just trying to get it to lukewarm.
Go in your backyard and dig a hole about 3 feet deep, three by 3 by 3. I think that should be fine. The Shepke family, Jeff Shepke. I've got it. Henry, thank you so much for joining us. Henry is here with his dad. Henry, as you know, is a 13-year-old from Madison, Wisconsin, who joins us at so many of our events. And he engages with our veterans, and he's gotten some autographs from our World War II veterans, but he loves being part of this community. We love having him here. Thank you for joining us, Henry. How do you like your MRE?
I haven't had mine yet, but my dad had it.
Oh, your dad had it?
He had some of it, but he hasn't had his main dish yet. So
okay, so what have you had?
I chowed mine down right away. So I had the chili mac. It was very good.
Chili mac was good.
It was very good. Yeah, and I didn't even heat it. It was very good cold.
The cookies are good.
And this is Owen, Henry's brother.
Hello, Owen. Good to see you. Are you having an MRE, Owen?
Yeah.
What are you having?
Meatballs and marinara sauce.
I hear that's good.
Yeah, it's good.
Good.
Yeah. Thank you so much for sending these to us, and thank you for thank you for all the people on the call, for all the amazing things that you've done for us and our country. And Todd, thank you for being so good and kind to my guy Henry here this year. It's been a real benefit to him and to us as a family. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much. And thanks for letting us be part of this group today. It means a lot to us and to Henry. So,
hey Todd, just so you know, I go to Madison all the time. Well, I used to when they had women's hockey games up. They were very, very close.
Oh yeah,
to the women's hockey program.
Oh, and
great. So, Henry, I hope I get to meet you someday next time I'm up there. Yeah,
when
you
you
can't
come,
travel to Wisconsin. I will. I'll get your
info. Things are
info.
normal. Let us know.
I definitely will.
Program in the country for sure.
Oh, I know my daughter played for Cornell, and we're very close to, the head coach for the women's hockey, and great campus up there.
That's great. Yeah.
We have several people who I want to acknowledge as just wonderful volunteers. I mean, they've continued to volunteer even during this virtual time. Henry, I consider him a volunteer. He asks Henry's question of the week to the group. Becky Nyron, you are on the scuttlebutt. Thank you so much for doing that. How was your meal, Becky?
It's actually not bad. I have the chicken burrito bowl tonight, but I saw in the chat, a couple of us had to cheat with the microwave, but but I didn't get my M&Ms, so.
You didn't get the M&Ms.
But that, well, like they said previously, maybe that means my meal's a little better. So, but I have my VBC coffee mug cookie to look forward to.
Yes. Yeah. That is quite sweet. So that'll be ready for that.
Yeah.
Try the
Glad to be here.
Coffee cup cookie with the coffee from the MRE. I'm actually.
Oh, don't. You're drinking that?
Yeah.
Oh, Sean.
Good.
You must be looking forward to diaper changing overnight.
Well, I didn't have to these in, so I figure that the coffee can't be much.
Right. Right.
And I also want to thank Sue Watson. Sue, you're a wonderful volunteer. You've been writing these great cards to people who share their stories at our events, and you do a lot of other things, not least of which is kind of, twisting your dad's arm a little bit to get him to join us, which is always great. Sue, thank you. What are you having?
I had the spaghetti.
Okay, and do you agree with Carol?
It was good. It was interesting. It had meatballs in it. It was hard to get hot, so I did cheat and use the microwave. And I ate the Pop-Tart first.
Peggy's holding up the cookie. That's a great cookie, Peggy. What'd you have? What was your meal?
I had the cheese tortellini.
And
good.
Good. Okay,
good.
That's good. So I just want thank you again, Sue, for all the work that you do on behalf of the veterans and the Veterans Breakfast Club. Dan Steitner,
I have to run, but I want to just piggyback on what you just said. On Wednesday, you mentioned that Sue sends out notes after people speak, and I thought, wow, isn't that really great? And that afternoon in the mail, I got one. And I got to tell you, Sue, I really appreciate it. Thank you so much. It was, just you had asked about what did you do at Christmas, and I talked about where I was at Christmas in North Dakota, and then when I went to Vietnam. And Sue wrote this really wonderful little card, and I just wanted to thank her. And anybody that receives one, it's really something really special. So thank you so much, Sue.
Hey, Larry, before you have to go, do you mind sharing with the group what a Christmas memory from your time in the Air Force?
Yeah, what I had mentioned last Wednesday when Todd asked was my first Christmas was in 1966, and I was on a missile site in Grand Forks, North Dakota, and it was 25 below zero, and we were in a camper, and there were two of us that were on there for 3 days until we got relieved, and we switched, protecting a Minuteman missile with multiple nuclear warheads. And at 25 below zero, walking around on the missile site with my weapon on my shoulder, I was singing Christmas carols, thinking, wow, isn't this something different? And then the following year, I was sitting on a bunker in Vietnam, and totally different experience. So it was just, during the 4 years that I spent in the service, I think every holiday you were on duty, and it's just what you did. You just didn't think about it much. You just kind of did it. But to go from 25 below zero to sitting on a bunker in Vietnam was kind of an experience.
Thank you for that, Larry.
Thank you, guys.
Dan Steitner, I want to also thank you, single you out, and thanking you for the work that you've done on behalf of the veterans community, here in Western Pennsylvania, as being the founder and the president of the Military Community Support Project, and also for the work that you've done for the Veterans Breakfast Club. I appreciate it very much. I know you and I have been talking about big plans that we have for next year, because next year, 2021, will be the 20th anniversary of 9/11. Do you want to talk a little bit about what we have planned with the MCSP and the Veterans Breakfast Club?
Well, sure. As I said, next year's the 20th, I would say, memorial of the 9/11, and Western Pennsylvania is very important. And that, to be honest with you, is we were that Shanksville was probably the first time that civilians were the first responders to the attack. They're the ones that first fought back. And what we want to do is have a year-long memorial or thank you and gratitude of all those who served on the war on terrorism. We're going to start in early January and going till September 11th, ending hopefully with a dinner with all those first responders and the military who served on the war on terrorism. And we're going to have a lot of events from, we're talking to Tunnel to Towers, having them come into Pittsburgh, some private events, doing some things with air shows. So we're looking at doing some big things and raising a lot of money, awareness, and really a big thank you and gratitude for all those who decided to serve our country in some degree on war on terrorism and really tell their stories and individual stories. So we're going to be asking for help and volunteers next year because this is going to be a big production and a big event, and we're going to do a lot.
Wonderful, Dan. And I know that the VBC, we've been talking, Sean and Ellie and I, finding ways to commemorate throughout the year the 20th anniversary of 9/11, because just like Pearl Harbor, it changed so many lives. And Sean is one person who's of that generation. He was 18 years old when the attacks of September 11th happened. And, you know, it shaped his life like it's shaped so many who entered the military. And so I think we're probably going to end up doing a weekly program just focusing really on that generation 9/11 and what the impact of that event has been on the lives of people who are now in their 20s and 30s and 40s and 50s. I mean, geez, we've had, you know, I see Bob Mizwa here. He's a Vietnam vet who also served in Iraq after 9/11. So it wasn't just young people that the, you know, that event affected. We have so many people supporting the Veterans Breakfast Club and volunteering in many different ways. The most important way to volunteer really is to let people know about our programming, help to grow the community. Rick Arisman, you share our information with a lot of people. Ed Blank, you have pulled lots of people into our, you know, into our community, and it's wonderful. Jim Roberts, you have given me so many great ideas for activities that we could do virtually. Chad Riddle, I know you've pulled a lot of people in also. But I thought, you know, I would continue the tradition that we've had over the past 3 years of recognizing our VBC Veteran Volunteer of the Year. It started with recognition of Marshall Gordon as being a, you know, such a loyal and longstanding volunteer. Last year, Ben Wright received that award. This year, I thought that we just wouldn't do it because we didn't have the appropriate face-to-face venue to kind of give the, you know, formal presentation of the award. But I got to thinking about it, and I just thought there's one volunteer who's just been doing so much for so long, and it would just be a shame not to recognize him tonight because his job has changed. The work that he's done with the Veterans Breakfast Club has changed dramatically over the years, and he's been with the Veterans Breakfast Club for many years. He's worked on our books. He's, you know, kept track of our database. He sends out newsletters to people who need them. He registers people for various memorials. And I'm talking about our 2020 VBC Veteran Volunteer of the Year, Jim Jameson, who I know is with us tonight. And not only that, you can tell he's an Air Force veteran. And because he's an Air Force veteran, he was smart enough not to buy an MRE for tonight's dinner. Is that correct, Jim?
Yeah, Air Force food's better than the MREs.
So he decided not to get an MRE.
Although I remember at Edwards, we were still using up the old canned rations, and there were some good meals there. And we used them with the Scott troop that I was involved with when I was at Edwards. So I used the old MREs, if you will.
The leftovers from World War II, they probably
The old leftovers from World War II. And I also received a wonderful thank you from Sue Watson. And Sue, thank you so very much. It was deeply appreciated. And it's been my pleasure for these many years to be a volunteer with Todd. It's just been a whole lot of fun. And I think the Zoom meetings have been very meaningful in this time when we're confined to stay healthy.
Yeah. Yeah. And Jim, when we're able to get back together again, I will give you this framed certificate.
Thank you.
As our VBC veteran volunteer. And I said, it just reads, in deep appreciation for the years of service to the mission and growth of the Veterans Breakfast Club, we recognize as our 2020 Veteran Volunteer of the Year, Jim Jameson. May the VBC and all those connected to it grow in the dedication, commitment, loyalty, vision, and hard work with which you've guided our efforts. Thank you very much, Jim, for the work that you've done.
Thank you.
Here,
Here, here.
Here, here,
Yeah, I could drink to that. Absolutely.
Todd, may I say one thing?
Yes, Jack Watson.
May I say one thing? I also received a note from Susan this week, and I want to say that it's a prize that I'll keep the rest of my life. And the thing about it is that mine is different from everybody else's, because instead of dear Jock or dear Bob or mine says dear Dad. So that's a keeper. Thank you, Susan.
Todd, can I say something special to Jack Watson?
Yes.
This is such a bizarre little story, but after your presentation on Iwo Jima, I started thinking, I know Jack Watson for some reason, but I can't think of why I know him or know his name. And then it hit me. I've been carrying your name around in my iPhone for years, Jack. Let me tell you why. A number of years ago, the Heinz History Center did their World War II exhibition. And at the tail end of it, there was a display case of personal items from local World War II vets. And I'm one of those people who goes to museum and reads the captions and everything. That's what historians do. And I saw your name and I pulled out my iPhone, and in my reminders app, I typed in Sergeant Jack Watson, 4th Marine Division, 24th Replacement Unit, Iwo Jima. What drew my eye was 4th Marine Division, because I knew that was my godfather's division, who I told you about was at Iwo with you in a tank. And I thought, I don't know if Jack is dead or alive, but maybe someday I would get to meet him or find out more about him. But I've been carrying this in my iPhone since I was at Heinz History Center and saw that exhibit. And I want to thank Todd for letting me meet Jack. It's really important to me that I've been able to see him face to face via Zoom.
Hey.
Proud to know you, Jack.
And Carol.
Thank you.
Jack Watson's a hero.
Yes.
Without a doubt, in many ways, not just one way.
Wonderful, wonderful story last Sunday. And if you didn't hear it, you missed it. And you should go find the video that we've got and listen to it. It's worth.
And I'm not taking your name off my reminder list now, Jack. I'm just going to keep it there.
God bless you.
Yeah, I would agree. Jim and Carol, if you have not listened to an interview with Jack Watson, it's life-changing.
Oh, last Sunday was life-changing.
It's life-changing to hear his story. Absolutely, and that's not an exaggeration.
Todd,
yeah.
Todd, to borrow a line from Mike Lang, shame on you for 6 weeks if you missed that last Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
But I also want to mention to everybody, even though Todd just handed out a Volunteer of the Year award, I really remember the night I walked down the hall at Waynesburg Monroeville campus, and I saw this strange looking guy. He was coming out, and I knew he didn't look like a typical student. And I just walked down and reached out my hand and said, "Hi, I'm Chad Riddle. Who are you?" And if I had not done that, I might have not ever have learned about the Veterans Breakfast Club.
Yeah, the Veterans Breakfast Club was just getting off the ground. I learned that Chad was a Navy ensign, former Navy ensign. And man, we just hit it off from there. We had a lot to talk about. And Chad later joined our board of directors and became just a big, important supporter and counselor to the Veterans Breakfast Club.
And Todd, everybody should have a chance to be an ensign for 30 days in their life.
Why? Why?
Why?
Yeah.
Because you're not respected by the senior officers, and you take a lot of grief from all the enlisted, from all the white hats.
So the ensign is the equivalent of a second lieutenant in the Army.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
No respect from anybody.
It's
pretty much.
Every ensign is another Rodney Dangerfield.
That's the way it's supposed to be.
You're at the bottom of the food chain, Chad.
That's the way.
I know.
That's the way it's supposed to be.
Ida Mae, were you going to say something?
No, it was me. I was going to say to tell Chad, we used to call them insects, not ensigns.
That's right.
Hey, Dale, we were called worse, let me tell you.
So Dale, I was talking to Dale Gower. I think he might be our only Coast Guard veteran on the call tonight. He told me, or Ida Mae told me, that when Dale signed his contract to join the Coast Guard in 1973,
Yes.
1973, the contract said the Coast Guard guaranteed him 1 hour of sleep per night and butter every day.
Yeah. I always got the butter.
Why butter?
He said he always got the butter, but not always the sleep. I've never heard that about the butter. And then also somebody passed me this joke. I don't want to reveal who it was because it might, veterans of certain branches of service might be offended by the joke, but so I'm not going to share it if that's okay. I'm not going to share the person who gave me this if that's okay, Ida Mae. The reason the branches all bicker among themselves is because they don't speak the same language. For instance, look at the simple phrase, secure the building. The Army will post guards around the place. The Navy will turn out the lights and lock the doors. The Marines will kill everybody inside and set up a headquarters. And the Air Force will take out a 5-year lease with an option to buy. Thank you for that, Ida Mae.
I had to pass it on.
I love it.
So I want to hear from people who were in the military over the holidays, over, Christmas, Hanukkah.
Real quick.
Yeah.
I just want to point out that in the chat, Henry Shopke says that if anyone wants to learn more about MREs, he made a video and he put a link in there.
Whoa, excellent.
Been talking about more information about MREs. That's
great. And Henry, I think that you're planning to do, I think Henry said to me that he wanted to try all 24 menus and review them. And I think that's a great project. Hopefully you'll reach the age of 14 after trying all 24.
Super size.
We'll work on it together.
Is that your plan, Henry?
Yeah.
That's so great. So did you, in this video that people could watch, the link is in our chat, is that you having the meal this evening, your review of it?
No, it's just like a slideshow showing like some of the stuff in the MREs and information about it.
Okay. All right.
Todd, you ought to capture that and stick it on the website.
Oh, yeah. If with Henry's permission.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Oh, with permission. Okay. Absolutely. Who else wants to give a review of what they're having?
man.
Okay.
I do, Todd.
Bill, yes. You had Spanish,
Okay.
right?
No, French.
French.
I want to say a kind word about French food. I got something that they called tamboule à la volaille, which means couscous and chicken breast. And it was very, very good. Moreover, unlike the others, it had a picture on the top of the entree of what it is you were going to eat. They had no way to heat it up, so I nuked it in the microwave. And then, since I was in the Air Force, I served things the way we normally do, on china with sterling flatware and crystal goblets. And it tastes just the way I remember it.
The Air Force always eats well.
Of course we do.
So
We
does
have
it-
sense.
Does it taste better on that fine china?
It did.
We have Mike Chirac. You had Lithuanian again?
I did. Very good.
Very good.
I mean, the meal itself was okay. The best part, my second Lithuanian MRE, is the chocolate. It's out of this world. It comes from a very well-known chocolate company in Lithuania, in Kaunas, Lithuania, and it's had the label here somewhere. You can look it up online. There's a lot of history. It goes way back to the 1800s. It's phenomenal. You can skip everything else and just go straight to the
Just
chocolate.
go straight to the chocolate.
Straight to the chocolate.
Hey, someone had a Russian meal.
Yes, Dana Del Bianco. You're the only one brave enough to try the Russian meal. What's your review?
It actually wasn't that bad. For people who don't know me, I did spend 3 weeks in the Soviet Union while it was still communist. So I can eat anything as long as it's not still moving. So it was beef with kidney beans. So it was kind of like a blah tasting chili. One of the more interesting things was these crackers. And I read the label on it and it says Army biscuit or hardtack, but it was the line underneath it that gave me pause. It said from wheat flour, and then there was a word I didn't recognize. So I looked it up in my big Russian English dictionary and it said wallpaper. And I thought, this got to be wrong. Something's wrong here. So I looked it up on Google Translate and it said wallpaper. So I was like, wait, well, we could try it. I looked it up on Apple Translate and it said wallpaper. And so when I bit into it, it was like, oh yeah, wallpaper.
Wallpaper.
Yeah.
Well, you might remember the accounts of Leningrad during the
Yes,
siege,
they
where they ate wallpaper.
They ate wallpaper
So,
and
yeah.
they ate other things too.
But the tea is excellent. I will say the tea is excellent.
The tea
Dan,
is
did
excellent.
you have vodka with that?
I had the wine. I do have a bottle of vodka over there, and I have a couple old bottles of Soviet era vodka, but I'm afraid to open them because Soviet era vodka is somewhere between like paint thinner and lighter fluid.
And Jim Stratton, you had the Polish meal. How was it?
The Polish was excellent, actually. I was quite surprised by that. Well, not surprised, but quite pleased by it. So thumbs up on the Polish. What's that?
Kielbasa and cabbage?
Yes, sir. Yes. Now I'm ready to take on the Russians.
What did you think of your Steve Silverman? It's good to see you. I haven't seen you in a while.
You as well. I didn't have the courage to open it. Sorry.
All right. All right.
But it's good to see everybody and hear the stories. I'm lucky enough I see a young lady that I coached in softball many years ago. That's actually how I met Todd. Hello there, Libby. So goodness, but this is great stuff. And I see some other folks have their hands up to give their stories about what they eat. But this is wonderful, what you all do. And I'm glad to be a part of it.
Thank you, Steve. Yeah, please give a review. If you have your hand up, just speak out. Oh, Rick Arisman, Rick and Donna, how are you? You both had the beef brisket.
Yeah, that was good. The beef brisket and the au gratin potatoes. Great.
Little salty.
Little salty, but we weren't disappointed.
So you are okay. You're not just, and that's coming from a Navy guy who ate well, right?
That's right. we didn't eat MREs or sea rats or anything.
No, you had a galley.
Hey, we got Twizzlers for dessert.
Leo West. Leo, and I want everybody look at, Leo has not had a haircut in 1 year. Is that true, Leo? Is that a style statement or a practicality?
Just staying at home.
Just staying at home. That'll do it.
I had the chili and beans, and it was good, except I should have used the microwave instead of trying to heat it with that heater. It just didn't work.
So you were in the Army in the 1950s. What did you eat in the Army?
We had the sea rations at times, but we had good meals most of the time at the consolidated mess.
Godfather, yeah.
And the only time that you knew that everything was going smooth was when people complained about the food. That's the only thing they complain about. But, the one thing I wanted to mention was I had an experience at Christmas time. When I was at St. Vincent, there was an exchange student came to school from Germany, and I got to know him. And when I was stationed in Austria, I wrote to him, and he answered and invited me to come up to Munich, where he was in school. So I took a friend of mine, Earl Berry from Montana, up to Munich, and we stopped in the college or the university to see him. And he came down, hello, and started talking. He says, "Well, I'll see you in a few minutes." And Earl Berry looked, he says, "You sure that dude is a Kraut?" Because his English was perfect. And at that time, it was during Oktoberfest, and he invited me up to his home for Christmas. So I got a chance to have a German Christmas with the candles on the Christmas tree, which was a little dangerous, but that's what they did. And,
Great. That's a good memory.
So it was a great time.
Pat Andrews, what do you think of your Japanese meal? Oh, you have to unmute yourself.
Other than the fact it was very salty, it was very tasty, but it fascinated me that the chicken was pressed into a hot dog shape.
Oh,
it had the texture of chicken. So I don't know how they did that.
Okay, and that's the Japanese. That's the same as not same menu, but same kind of MRE that I had. And I have to say that when I looked at Google Translate on my MRE, once again, one of the ingredients appeared to be mosquitoes. Brad Washaball, how many MREs have you had in your 28-year career?
Yeah, a lot, but it's been 15 years, and the MREs have always gotten better. I started out with sea rats and the Vietnam era stuff, but it is complicated. I mean, you really have to pay attention to the instructions, and I think for the heater, it pays to turn it upside down, take it out and turn it around, because you can get one half of your meal heated or not. But what I wanted to say was, I was hoping my package would make it, because it was really a nail biter. The mailman came, I went out there, and there was my box, and it had the MRE in it. But what was nice is, the placemat that came with it was just fantastic. And I don't know who did the card, but the card, I wanted to ask you, Todd, who did this? It was obviously some kids.
Yes, these were children from Harrison Middle School in Baldwin. You being a Pittsburgher will know Baldwin School District. We did an event at Harrison Middle School late last year, and the kids made a lot of handmade cards and placemats, and they gave them to us and asked us to give them to veterans. And I was planning on giving them out at our live events, and couldn't do that. So I just thought I'd put them in boxes and ship them off with these MREs for this event.
It was a wonderful package, such a nice event, and thank you so much. It's been just great.
You know, and I'm looking at the clock. It's 8:31, and certainly many of you might want to leave and, you know, get on with your night. Probably I've just talked too much. We didn't even get to the trivia, Sean.
I know, but we also didn't hear about a French MRE, and I think Lamont had one that he mentioned.
Yeah, he was heating it up outside for some reason.
Yeah. I had it. I was heating it up outside, and it was like a chili con carne. It was delicious. My son and I, we actually were eating on that, and it actually came with some almost like pulled poultry. And it was that was good also. And then I was using my toothpicks, my cure-dents. I was using those and everything. And you know, you're talking about the placemats. So I don't know if you can see on my back wall, like the cards and stuff. So I actually put those up as my as kind of my backdrop. I put up the placemats in the card because I thought that was definitely an awesome touch. So so thanks a lot for that.
That's great. Thank you, Lamont. Barbara Spaventa, I want to have you talk a little bit about not only the meals that you ate. I think you had some Japanese meals and German?
And German. Okay. And I ate them both before the meeting. They were quite good.
So they were good. You give them a thumbs up.
Yes, I shared them with my kids, so they were very good.
And would you mind telling the group about the work that you do? I believe you're a board member, or certainly you support the World War II Roundtable of Central Pennsylvania, which is a very active, wonderful group. I visited them last year, gave a talk there. You're involved with the World War II Roundtable?
Yes, I'm one of the directors with the Central PA World War II Roundtable, and one of our first guests many years ago, I didn't have the privilege of meeting him, was Dick Winters. So unfortunately, we just had our very first Zoom since, the COVID started. So it was really enjoyable this week. And the only thing I miss is seeing all my friends and not being able to visit with the vets. A lot of them are stuck either in their homes or in nursing homes, and they can't, unfortunately, visit with us. So that's been a little rough.
Well, I've been in touch a little bit with Cliff and Laura Passuelo, who I know are very involved also in the World War II Roundtable. And I wanted to let them know that, they'd be welcome to join us and, have us be part of it. And also let some of our people know about the Zoom programs that you're starting. So that if people want to check them out, they can.
Oh, definitely. I'll send you the link and you can pass it on. It'll be the first Thursday of every month at 7:00.
Perfect. That's exactly what I was asking for. Yes, thank you. If you could send that link, I could share it with our group, and I think a lot of people would. I certainly would love to sit in on it.
Absolutely, and if you're okay with it, I would love to share your group because I think our members would get a lot out of it. It's wonderful what you and your crew do there, and I'm just so grateful to have found you guys, and I look forward to meeting everyone in person when this crisis is over.
Wonderful, Barbara. Thank you very much. And thank you for joining us tonight.
Oh, thank you for having me. It's been great.
Wonderful.
Hey,
Ray, were you going to say something?
Yeah. I wanted to, you talked about Christmas in Vietnam, and I wanted to just share this with you. This was a card that we received from President Tu, who was the president of South Vietnam.
Can you hold it up a little bit?
Yes, there it is. And I'll read what it says because it's in English on this side and Vietnamese on this side. But I believe every unit in Vietnam got one that year. And it's interesting because it was December of '68, but it says Merry Christmas and Happy New Year 1969 coming on board. On behalf of the government and people of the Republic of Vietnam, I sincerely extend to all our allied comrades in arms my best wishes for a Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. The people of the Republic of Vietnam are deeply moved by your supreme sacrifice, for you have had to leave your loved ones and fatherland to help the Republic of Vietnam in its fight against communist aggression and to preserve its freedom and independence. I believe that the joint efforts of the Allies and the Republic of Vietnam will soon bring peace to Vietnam. Interesting card, but I've had this for 50, what is it now, 54 years. And I think that it's just something that I've kept and wanted to share that with everybody, because you talked about wanting us to share things about Christmases that we had.
Yes.
And so
that's a beautiful artifact.
yes, it is. And
what do you remember from Christmas 1968?
Well, if anybody was there in 68, they remember that there was a ceasefire for 5 days, I believe. And one of the things that we tasked everybody when they were going on R&R in the fall of that year is when they came back, they had to bring a bottle of booze, which we put on the shelf for the party we were going to have on Christmas Eve, not knowing that there was going to be a ceasefire.
Veterans Breakfast Club.
And so that day, we created a brew in a big pot that we got from the chow hall, and we mixed all kinds of booze, and it turned out to be a dark brown liquid color. Needless to say, by 5 o'clock, if we would have got invaded, it would have been a problem. And they decided to have an award ceremony out in the back of the compound, because I was at the 3rd Medical Battalion, because they were going to give out awards and give people their Purple Hearts. And we were supposed to stand at attention. But those people had a pretty hard time standing at attention. And it was, I can remember it was really hot that day, and that didn't help either. And one last thing I do remember, when we were in the office, I looked up at the light and there was a black spot in the light, and I couldn't figure out, it was a big black spot. So I pushed on the plastic of the light, it fell out, and a rat fell down my chest and ran out the door.
Oh.
So that's one of the things that I'll always remember about that Christmas Eve in 1968. Among other things.
Among other things, I'm sure. Ed Blank, do you have any? Yeah. Yes, Bob.
If I may, Bob. In 2004, I had a Christmas card made up from my father. He was in the Custer Division, the 85th Division during World War II. And I always wanted to find a piece of V-mail. So I had this Christmas card. I hope you can see it.
Here, let me spotlight it for everybody.
And he sent this to his mother from her loving son.
Oh.
Oh, great.
I thought I'd share that with everybody.
Wow.
That's terrific.
Thank you.
Yeah. Ed Blank, I know that you were another smart guy who didn't order a meal. You have holiday memories from Vietnam.
Todd, I think I must be a little different from everybody I hear talking on these Zoom casts. Part of this is I'm 77 years old, and so necessarily there's a certain loss of memory. But when I came back from Vietnam, and I was discharged within 48 hours from New Jersey, I put it aside so thoroughly, not with any malice or anger or regret of any kind, but I was, for 2 full years counting the days till I would get back to my life and get on with my life's work, newspaperman. And I truly, apart from a couple of episodes involving the scorpions or whatever, I never talked about it. Almost nobody knew I'd been to Vietnam. And I find now that I have no stories to tell because I just don't remember. I have no idea what I was doing on Christmas Day. I don't remember what I ate or where I was or whether I was in the middle of a job. It just all went away. And I don't have it to look back on. That's not a regret either, but I'm dumbfounded by the detail with which many of these stories are told.
Yeah.
Which I think the most compelling ever was Jack Watson.
Ed, you shared one story of calling home. Maybe it wasn't for Christmas. Maybe it was for Thanksgiving.
I believe it was Thanksgiving Day, and I know I was in the company area that day of the 40th Signal Battalion, and I had signed up sometime in advance to have 15 minutes to make the phone call, or I don't remember how that was scheduled, but I had a specific time, and I picked a time knowing the time difference, that it would be dinner time at my parents' house, and that they would have all the Pittsburgh relatives there on Christmas Day. And I didn't mention to anyone that I was going to be calling. I thought this would be a great surprise in the middle of Christmas afternoon, 4 o'clock or something like that at Pittsburgh. And when I called, I so caught everyone off guard in the middle of a hectic holiday celebration that no one knew what to say to me. And after great anticipation of this 15-minute phone call, I got off thinking, my God, was that a letdown?
Yeah, right.
I just truly couldn't collect thoughts in any appropriate way, I guess. They're probably all thinking, I can't say that, I can't say that. And it was a big nothing. And that's what stuck with me. What a disappointment.
I think of two things when I hear that story. First of all, how hard it must have been to make a phone call from Vietnam to Pittsburgh in 1969? No, 1967?
No, 66.
66?
Yeah.
It must have, you'd have to move heaven and earth and you'd have to have a whole lot of luck to have all those connections go through.
Well, we were Signal Corps. Maybe that allowed us some opportunities. I just remember picking very carefully the time. We were 11 or 12 or 13 hours off and working this out very carefully, what time to go for, thinking, well, they're not sitting down to dinner yet, you know, and it didn't play at all. That's all I remember from the call.
I mean, you're bridging two different worlds. I mean, you're in an entirely different world. What do you have to say to each other? It's just I could see how. What do you say? You know, just boy.
Well, since I had nothing to contribute, I think I was hoping 2 or 3 or 6 would get on and bring some sense of the family Christmas to the conversation, but it didn't happen. I caught them too off guard.
Yeah.
And I realized later I really shouldn't have tried to surprise them, but I should have let them know in advance.
Yeah. Oh, neat. You know, I'm looking at the clock again. It's 8:44, and I know many of you want to. I mean, it's almost past my bedtime, Ed. So I know many of you, you know, want to get on with your evenings. You will not be rude if you just drop off. Sean, I know, you know, you've got Avi who may need tending to.
Well, let me interrupt real quick. She's in bed, so I am free to relax and hang out with everyone. And I do want to say that in the spirit of this being a thank you and goodbye to 2020, I do want to thank everyone here, everyone that I talk to, that I say, hey, I made this transition from a long career at the Pittsburgh Public Theater to Veterans Breakfast Club, that this organization has been so welcoming, that the organization has been incredible, that the group, the network here has just been so supportive, that they are eager to help me learn. Todd, thank you for bringing me aboard. This has been a wonderful evening. It's been a wonderful 6 months. I've been so excited to be a part of this mission and this plan that we have, and just this transition that we are going through here with VBC. And I'm just so fortunate and so just so happy and thankful that I have found this spot. And I'm just, you know, I'm very overwhelmed by the acceptance of everyone. So thank you, everyone.
Oh, we're lucky to have you, Sean. We're lucky to have you. Absolutely. Thank
Hey,
you.
Todd.
Yes.
Hey, Todd, I would love to ask Julia Parsons to just tell a snippet of her story. I don't want to give it away, but it was when she was listening to the Germans and there was a conversation of a German father talking about something in normal everyday life. And it really hit her that, you know, the Germans were people just like us too. Would you ask her? I mean, it's just a little snippet to tell that. I just love that story.
Well, it wasn't a conversation. It was through their email, their radio transmission to the submarine. And the man had just had a son. And I was so impressed. And I thought that it was a great idea that life goes on, that sort of thing. And then shortly after that, the submarine was sunk, due in part to my doing, and I felt so bad about it, and I still do. I think that's why Jack Watson impressed me so much last week. He had so much worse guilt. Is that it? Survivor's guilt, maybe? I don't know what it is, but it was a really sad thought in my mind. And to my knowledge, I don't think anyone else in the office cared about that as much as I did.
Julia, you said when we interviewed you about this, you said that when you learned that that German U-boat, that enemy U-boat had been sunk, you cried.
Well, I did. And as I said, I was rather shocked that nobody else in the office seemed to care about it. We were responsible for that, and I've lived with that all my life. And when we were in Germany several times, I kept thinking maybe these people are relatives of his. Who knows? I don't know. I don't remember his name. It's all gone now, but it was a traumatic experience for me.
And it was all because that you had heard that little piece of personal information about him that made him not the enemy, but
that little boy will never see his father. It was a very, very sad occasion. And yet that's what we were there for.
Yeah. That's what war is. Oh boy. Thank you for asking Julia to share that.
Yeah, you're a hero, Julia.
She is.
Thank you. I wondered why I hadn't heard from you in the last year.
I know. With the COVID, it's terrible.
Okay.
I don't go anywhere. I think I've dressed up 3 times in 9 months.
How true.
And this is one of them. But you look great, Julia.
Thank you.
We're going to do that lunch.
I hope so.
We will.
And we are going to do this an MRE event like this again. This is just too much fun not to do, at least a couple times a year, because it's just, Ellie, what did you think of your Japanese meal?
I thought it was great. It really it had some complex flavors going on that I really enjoyed. Yeah.
I tell you, mine had complex flavors. They called it, wow, it was called Nagoya beef red miso meal.
Fire.
And there was I didn't recognize any, no beef that I recognized, but there was something. And it kind of coated your whole mouth.
It wasn't beef. It was something.
Todd?
It was something, and it was pretty slimy. Yes, Julia.
Todd, I lived in Japan for a year, and that's why I didn't order any Japan MRIs or MREs.
Does anybody that was in the Navy remember when they served mystery meat?
We had that at St. Vincent College.
Yeah. We had mystery meat on the ship. Next time we went out for more than 5 days.
Better known as SOS.
No, it was some sort of mystery meat. I have no clue.
Oh,
I know I didn't eat it.
is it that mystery meat? That's the one with the green tint to it.
Yeah.
That shiny green tint. You look from the angle, it's like rainbow green.
It kind of glowed.
Yeah.
And I didn't eat that.
Who else? Susie, Herb, what did you think of your meal? Libby, Steph.
We really liked ours. It didn't really have a name, but it said tomato and chicken, but it tasted almost exactly like the US meal 15, which
But we
is
kind of ate around the chicken.
This was another Japanese one.
but it tasted
kind of gray.
It tasted exactly like the Mexican style chicken stew. So,
but the rice was excellent.
Oh.
Herb, what do you think of theirs?
Well, I was working late, so I didn't get home in time to do anything but just jump on the Zoom, and my wife had a salad, so it's sitting here. And while we've been on the Zoom call, she was going through it and picking out the pieces. What is it? What? But there was the dessert was a cinnamon roll. I didn't open it up, but then everybody's talking about Skittles and M&Ms, and I'm thinking, a cinnamon roll in a brown package versus M&Ms. I'm not sure which is going to be which. So my wife and I will try it out maybe tomorrow. But you guys have pretty much convinced me that I'm not going to try the heating pad. I'll just nuke it instead. But,
that's the easier route to take. Yeah.
Yeah.
Bob Mizwa, you've had plenty of MREs.
But
Yeah.
can I say
Herb, yeah.
As hard as all this COVID stuff has been, it's been great to be able to join this and especially the Greatest Generation Sunday afternoons have become a highlight for me. I've known about the Breakfast Club for years. You actually came and spoke at our Rotary Club after writing the Bill Maudlin book. So we met there, and so it's been in the back of my mind. I've got some friends all over the city that are vets that have been there and told their stories, but never been able to make an actual event. And so finding this on Zoom has just been such a great addition to my life. I never served it. I was never in the service, but I've always been a history guy. And I just love the stories of the people that have served, and it just brought it to real life.
Yeah.
And I agree. The Jack Watson, it truly was life changing to hear his story.
Yeah.
So Todd, I appreciate everything that you do. This is really a blessing. I don't know if other cities in our nation have anything like this, but what a value you add to our community, and so I appreciate it.
Thank you very much, Herb. Bob Mizwa.
Yeah, I had the menu too. Beef shredded in barbecue sauce, came with 2 tacos, very good. And it had the black beans, the Mexican black beans, and they were very good too. And the dessert was an oatmeal cookie, which really surprised me. It was very good too. So I recommend this one. It's like, it's at 4 stars. It wasn't as good as the beef one I had the last time, but I'll try something different next time.
The Army will be very happy to hear from you about that, Bob.
That's right.
A 4-star.
These MREs are different from the ones that I had back in Iraq.
Yes. How are they different?
I think they're better. The 2 I've had, they're better. I don't know what it was, but it seemed like the ones I had, like in Iraq, God, they suck the moisture right out of you. I don't care how much water you pour. If you ate one of those, you had to drink 2 canteens of water. They were horrible.
Bob, because it was
I preferred the sea rations from Vietnam as opposed to the original MREs in Iraq. Thank God I spent most of my eating in a dining facility at Camp Victory. I mean, numero uno. I mean, they took care. Oh my God! It got to a point I had to stop eating because the volume was so good and exercising more. I literally, when I was at Camp Victory, if you wanted to see feasting, it's like any of the holidays, Christmas, Easter, any excuse, July 4th, it was like going to a first-rate restaurant. I couldn't get over it. It's like phenomenal. And I was thinking about the line guys, the line companies out there, in Fallujah and up in Baji and out in the desert. And I'm going, oh God, they're out there eating those MREs. Oh,
yeah.
Who ran the dining facility, Bob?
What's that?
Who ran the dining facility?
I can't remember if it was Indians or Thai that ran it, but the food and the service was excellent. Oh my God, it was excellent. I mean, that's the best I've ever eaten in the services, was in a dining facility at Camp Victory.
Isn't that amazing?
It was because I remember, I think I told you last time, Al Franken was there performing, the one time. I remember General Carilli, he came in all the time, but the food was just top notch. I mean, I told you, like the one, I think it was Christmas, we had lobster. I'm going, oh my God, are we in a war zone or what? It was just like, totally out of sync with what was going on. It's like, this makes no sense whatsoever. Does not compute. Doesn't. Wait a minute. We ate C's in Vietnam. And when I'd go out, out on the wire, it was them stupid MREs that were horrible. And then I'm living like a king back at Camp Victory. It was just phenomenal. It's such a sharp contrast. It was like, this can't be real, and it was. And I'll give you another contrast. When we stood our battalion down in Vietnam, I remember we were down in Da Nang. We got to go to the Air Force Officers Club. You want to see a rowdy bunch of guys, and I'm including our battalion XO, the S1, S3, S4. We come in at an Air Force Club, and we were ready for a fight, And it's like these Air Force guys, they're spit clean. I mean, we're smelling with diesel fuel. Our boots were all coated in diesel fuel. We stunk, and it's like, do you want another, ribeye steak? Hey, what? And then the guy said, well, during the war, the Air Force builds the tennis courts, the ball fields, the swimming court, and they throw up the officers clubs and the NCO clubs. Then they ask Congress for money to fight. And it just seemed that way because, my God, the food in that officers club was just unreal. And here we are in Da Nang, the stuff that I had been used to eating. Oh my God,
Jim Roberts.
Hey, Bob.
Yes,
Bob. We ate very well in France in the Air Force on Thanksgiving. Very well.
Oh, I can imagine. Did you get French food off the market?
They had. It was a joint facility. We were on a joint base, French and Americans, and the mess hall was run by the Air Force and by the French.
Oh,
so we roughed it.
I tell you what, when my wife was alive, we spent 3 days in Paris. Oh my God, the food and the wine, to die for.
Jim Roberts, what did you eat in Vietnam when you lived in the villages there?
I see. As the assistant team leader, I could order food. I could order food once a month. They'd fly down to the general store, bring it back, and I'd pay for it. But most of the time, we were eating out of the village. And so our cook would go down with our medic. She wouldn't let us buy any protein in the village. No local protein was allowed. But when you couldn't guarantee how good it was. You didn't know how long it had been dead. There was no refrigeration. There was no electricity in the village.
Right.
When we would eat with the Vietnamese, the first rule was don't ask what you're eating. One evening, my sergeant and I were eating with the Vietnamese at the party. We were gnawing on bones, and we started putting the bones together like a little puzzle.
Oh my God! Tried to reconstruct the animal that you were.
Pull like the bones out of the owl throw up and create a rat.
You understand, in a place like Vietnam, in the village when there's no electricity, protein is protein. I've walked by a hamlet a number of times when we were checking things out, and you'd see rats on a spit in the fire. If you cook it enough, it's edible. When you're invited to when you're an advisor, you're supposed to win the hearts and minds of the people. I mean, they stole my team leader's dog.
Oh my God!
They were looking for him, and they found out they ate him. And so you smile and you eat it, and you hopefully don't find out what you're eating.
Are you serious? There was rat on his spit?
Yeah.
Oh my God. That just creeps me out. Oh.
Tell me about their MRE after that.
The one thing I'll comment your MREs, Todd. The one thing I'll say, a couple of things. One, it's much easier to eat a C ration over a C4 than it is to use this heat pack.
That's right.
As long as you got to cut the lid off the C4 before you do that if you got a problem. The other thing is the toilet paper is not green. We used to get 3 sheets of green toilet paper in every C meal, but it was green. This is what. So this is not really subdued. I'm not sure might be a little dangerous using it in the woods.
Not camouflage.
Right. Not camouflage, subdued.
Yeah,
Geez,
subdued.
The C rations we got had white toilet paper. I wonder why.
Maybe I was there in 71. Maybe it was an improvement.
I was there 70 through 71 up in northern I-Corps, and our toilet paper was white.
Maybe I don't know. But did you have the stick in your C rations?
Well,
I don't remember those.
They determined that the green dye was an irritant.
Now, this is stuff you don't read about in the history books, kids. Don Johnson, I haven't heard. What did you think of your meal, Don Johnson? Marianne Gross, aren't you happy you didn't order an MRE? You just get to enjoy all these stories.
Hi, Todd. I finally got unmuted.
How are you?
I'm doing well. I ate my MRE just like I would in the field. Cold. It was tasty. I mean, and it's probably better than any MREs I've eaten before.
And what was your menu?
Oh, I had the pork. The pork sausage.
Okay. So you would give it out of 1 to 5 stars, you'd give it maybe a 4?
At least a 4.
At least a 4. Good. That's great.
I mean, it was just as soon as I opened it up, and I'm saying, with all these different packets, they're doing this in a foxhole in the middle of a war zone.
Yeah.
I don't think how you could get all this stuff open.
Yeah. A lot of refuse here. Yeah. And I think Mac explained it. You kind of rip it apart, you strip it down, before you go in the field, I guess. Susie, what did you think of yours?
I had the German number 3, which had beef and wheat pasta and a little can of, it tasted like chicken pate, which was good. And sweet crackers, which were very good. Plus the dogs liked them as well, because I had to give them a little taste. And some chocolate that came with it. And that was very good. I recommend that, German number 3.
So the German, maybe next time, Sean and Ellie, we could give people different samples from different countries, and they could compare the US with German, with France, with, okay, we'll think of variations on this theme. This is so great. Good. This is great. Thank you, Susie. And I want to say hi to Dan and Cheryl Vaughn. Thank you for joining us. I know you often join us. Thank you for joining us tonight. And John Ferguson, you did not have a meal, but you joined us too. Thank you for showing up. How was your food in Vietnam? John Ferguson.
Well, I'm like Ed, I don't remember too much about it. But we ate them when I went over to 3rd Brigade 4th Division in the base camp for a while. It was typical Army food.
Okay.
I went down to the sideline and we ate in the BEQ in the Keystone Hotel, which I was told blown away was still there. It was good.
Okay.
I don't remember too much about it though.
And I just figured out that Ann Manley is with us, War Eagles. You don't have to unmute yourself if you don't want to, Ann, but I just want to say hello to you and thank you for joining us. And I hope to see you again. Well, I'm not seeing you, but is that Betty Karleski? Are you iPhone? Hi, Betty. Good to see you. You didn't have an MRE.
I asked Ellie to send it to my grandson in Kentucky.
And he didn't get it in time.
Well, it doesn't matter. I just thought it would be an interesting experience for him to try an MRE.
I feel badly. Somebody ordered one on Thursday from Arkansas, and I rushed it to the mail, but I know it didn't get to him in time. So I'll have to send an apology to him and offer that he come and eat it with us on Zoom another time, another day. Ray McNowski, I want to say hi to you. Pete Balistreri, good to know that you're here. Greg Yost, thanks for joining us. Great night. Don Nimchek, I haven't said hi to you. How you doing, Don?
I was about to say, Don is like perfect holiday red.
Yeah, and the reason here's why I didn't know it was Don. I look over, you see one of our events, somebody's wearing all red. What do you think? He's a Marine.
Marine.
Yeah, he's a Marine. Don's not a Marine. So
I wanted to contribute to the festive atmosphere. And
very good. How was the food in the Navy with you?
Food in the Navy was very good. Certainly like Julia and the other sailors on board. We had the galleys on the ship and the chow hall at the communication stations I was in, and even the one in Cameron Bay stood up pretty well. So the only thing I tell you that I could remember very well, I was in Subic Bay in the Philippines one Christmas. And there's quite a few stories to tell, maybe not in mixed company tonight. However, the fact remains is they celebrated Christmas. I think it started like December 1st. And they just went on. And they certainly had a festive atmosphere in the Philippines, welcomed all the sailors into Subic Bay, and the times were well thought of. So a lot of guys talking about the mystery meat. A lot of sailors might remember those little barbecue stands they had near the bridge crossing over into the main gate. Oftentimes the fellows thought that was monkey meat on a stick. They had little charcoal grills that they would make 3 sticks for a peso. Peso, my time, was like 7 pesos to $1. So you had a pocket full of money when you were in the Philippines, and we had a good time. So I can't complain. I certainly enjoyed my time there and some other places as well. I'd like to wish everyone a happy holidays and just be well. I pray that next year we're in a better way.
Yeah, me too. And I want to let people know we're still having our program tomorrow, Greatest Generation Live at 4 p.m. here Eastern Time. We will be sharing Pearl Harbor Day memories. Anybody who remembers Pearl Harbor, anybody who has a Pearl Harbor story, we certainly want them to share them with us tomorrow. And then Monday night, we'll be doing the same because it'll be the 79th anniversary of Pearl Harbor. Plus, we'll also be talking extensively with Jim Roberts, who has shared wonderful photos with us, who served on a mobile advisory team in Vietnam, a MAT team. And because we had to, I guess the term is we bumped you from last week because we just ran out of time. We're calling Jim back. Thank you for joining us, Jim, Monday night. So Monday night at 7, tomorrow at 4 p.m. Hope to see you. Yeah, Ida Mae, do you want to say something?
What do you have in your jacket pocket?
Okay. I've never been, my wife is here. I've never been like a pocket square kind of guy. I've never had a pocket square, but I thought, I don't know, maybe I'll try and spruce up my look tonight. But because I don't wear pocket squares, I don't have a pocket square. And so I used a sock.
I love it. I love it.
God, I could have.
And so were you buying it? I mean, does it? Okay. Well, maybe
Your mother would be so mortified.
My mother.
Yeah,
Yes.
she would be really, really upset by that. I know, I fully expect a sock in the pocket as pocket square, but she would not be having that.
My mom would not have thought that was funny. Yes. Cheryl, good to see you. Cheryl Vaughn.
Hey, Todd, I just want to tell you, I did the MRE the first time you did it. Okay. Dan wouldn't help me because he had C rations and he wasn't going to eat it. I was very frustrated, even with the video the woman did about how to prepare it. But I was so proud of myself that I did it all by myself, used the heater. And I just want to say to all of those who cheated using the microwave, you should have used the heater. It was amazing.
Oh.
But then one of our guests made the remark that she was an engineer and she had to study it a couple times on how to use the heater. So then I felt even better that an engineer had to.
Hey, Todd.
Yeah.
Hey, wait a minute. They're using microwaves and those plastics have aluminum foil. Those plastic bags are aluminum and you're sticking that in a microwave? You guys are lucky they didn't explode on you. Yes. Take a look
You
on
played
the
it
inside.
first.
Huh?
Played it first, then you nuke it.
Put it on a plate.
The best way to do it is get a pot with 2 quarts of water, boil it, throw it in there for 15 minutes, and it'll do the same thing.
That takes too long.
Oh,
All right,
you guys nuke those plastic packs that are aluminum. Oh, did anybody have any explosions? That's
Have
shocking.
what? No, there's no aluminum foil in an MRE, Bob. None.
Yeah.
None. I'm on Cheryl's side here. Everybody who used a microwave should be ashamed of themselves.
Yeah.
Did I use a microwave, Libby?
Hey, Todd.
Yes.
Aluminum.
What's that from?
This is from the beef. This is the number 2. The number 2 beef shredded in barbecue sauce has aluminum foil on the inside.
You know what?
Yeah, I think you're right.
And if you put this in a microwave,
You're right. I think you're right.
and the same thing for the black beans, they're aluminum foil lined.
You know what? If it's coated in plastic, it can go in the microwave, I believe.
Would you say, Ray?
I think that if it's coated in plastic,
Then you could do it.
you put it in the microwave because it doesn't hit the aluminum. Because I know that there's specially coated, it's got aluminum plates and it's coated in plastic and you can put it in the microwave. I'm sure that's part of it.
I think pocket socks are going to be the next thing, the next big thing.
As long as they're washed.
Your wife just gave you away.
Todd, I think that was very Oscar Madison of you to use a sock for a pocket square.
I thought I might get away with it.
I know what Santa's going to bring you.
Oh, this is so much fun. What a wonderful way to spend a Saturday night. Thank you all again for joining us, for supporting the Veterans Breakfast Club, for being part of this community, for helping me get through this year, for helping my family get through this year, because they have to live with me. Thank you all. And I'll look forward to seeing you in the coming weeks. All right.
Y'all have a Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas, everyone. All right. Good night.
Christmas.
Merry Christmas.